Alright, so I can't even with this. So this is from the CIA's own website. And this is the speech of Rabbi Emanuel Rabinovich that he held on my birthday in 1952. I wasn't born yet. I was born in 87. But it says, "Greetings, my children. You have been called here to recapitulate the principal steps of our new program. As you know, we had hoped to have 20 years between wars to consolidate the great gains which we made from World War II. But our increasing numbers in certain vital areas is arousing opposition to us, and we must now work with every means at our disposal to precipitate World War III within 5 years. The goal for which we have striven so concertedly for 3,000 years is at last within our reach, and because its fulfillment is so apparent, it behooves us to increase our efforts and our caution tenfold. I can safely promise you that before 10 years have passed, our race will take its rightful place in the world, with every Jew a king and every Gentile a slave." Applause from the gathering. You remember the success of our propaganda campaign during the 1930s, which aroused anti-American passions in Germany at the same time we were arousing anti-German passions in America, a campaign which culminated in the Second World War. A similar propaganda campaign is now being waged intensively throughout the world. A war fever is being worked up in Russia by an incessant anti-American barrage, while a nationwide anti-communist scare is sweeping America. This campaign is forcing all of the smaller nations to choose between the partnership of Russia or an alliance with the United States. Our most pressing problem at the moment is to inflame the lagging militaristic spirit of Americans. The failure of the Universal Military Training Act was a great setback to our plans, but we are assured that a suitable measure will be rushed through Congress immediately after the 1952 elections. The Russian, as well as the Asiatic peoples, are well under control and offer no objections to war, but we must wait to secure the Americans. This we hope to do with the issue of anti-Semitism, which worked well in uniting the Americans against Germany. We are counting heavily on reports of anti-Semitic outrage in Russia to whip up indignation in the United States and produce a front of solidarity against the Soviet power. Simultaneously, to demonstrate to Americans the reality of anti-Semitism, we will advance through new sources large sums of money to outspokenly anti-Semitic elements in America to increase their effectiveness, and we shall stage an anti-Semitic outbreaks in several of their largest cities. This will serve the double purpose of exposing reactionary sectors in America, which then can be silenced, and wielding the United States into a devoted anti-Russian unit. Within 5 years, this program will achieve its objective, the Third World War, which will surpass in destruction all previous contests. Israel, of course, will remain neutral. And when both sides are devastated and exhausted, we will arbitrate, sending our control commissions into all wrecked countries. This war will end for all time our struggle against the Gentiles. We will openly reveal our identity with the races of Asia and Africa. I can state with assurance that the last generation of white children is now being born. Our control commissions will, in the interests of peace and wiping out interracial tensions, forbid the whites to mate with whites. The white women must cohabit with members of the dark races. The white men, dark women. And the white men with dark women. Thus the white race will disappear. For mixing the dark with the white means the end of the white man. And our most dangerous enemy will become only a memory. We shall embark upon an era of 10,000 years of peace and plenty, the Pax Judaica, and our race will rule undisputed over the world. Our superior intelligence will easily enable us to retain mastery over a world of dark peoples. Question from gathering. Rabbi Rabinovich, what about various religions after the Third World War? There will be no more religions. Not only would the existence of a priest class remain a constant danger to our rule, but belief in an afterlife would give spiritual strength to irreconcilable elements in many countries and enable them to resist us. We will, however, retain the rituals and customs of Judaism as the mark of our hereditary ruling caste, strengthening our racial laws so that no Jew will be allowed to marry outside our race, nor will any stranger be accepted by us. We may have to repeat the grim days of World War II, when we were forced to let the Hitlerite bandits sacrifice some of our people in order that we may have adequate documentation and witnesses to legally justify our trial and execution of the leaders of America and Russia as war criminals, after we have dictated the peace. I am sure you will need little preparation for such a duty, for sacrifice has always been the watchword of our people, and the death of a few thousand Jews in exchange for world leadership is indeed a small price to pay. To convince you of the certainty of that leadership, let me point out to you how we have turned all of the inventions of the white man into weapons against him. His printing presses and radios are the mouthpieces of our desires, and his heavy industry manufactures the instruments which he sends out to arm Asia and Africa against him. Our interests in Washington are greatly extended to Point 4 program for developing industry in backward areas of the world, so that after the industrial plants and cities of Europe and America are destroyed by atomic warfare, the whites can offer no resistance against the large masses of dark races who will maintain an unchallenged technological superiority. And so, with the vision of the world victory before you, go back to your countries and intensify your good work until that approaching day when Israel will reveal herself in all her glorious destiny as the light of the world, approved for release by the CIA in 2003. Why did it take so long? With all of that being said, why don't we go back and look at some of the propaganda that they admitted that they were pushing here?
Never felt more played in my entire life than I am feeling right now. I'm about to show you a video, and I want you to pay close attention to the narrative, and I also want you to pay close attention to the dates. Do some math.
As in the Sun of New York, Sunday, June the 6th, 1915. This is 18 years before Hitler ever set foot in the government. There it is, people. 6 million Jews. The New York Times, October the 18th, 1918. And the article is called $1 billion Fund to Rebuild Jewry. There it is. 6 million souls will need help to resume normal life when war is ended. The New York Times, September the 8th, 1919, and the article is called Ukrainian Jews Aim to Stop Pogroms. Mass meeting hears that 127,000 Jews have been killed and 6 million are in peril. In the New York Times, November the 12th, 1919. And have reduced to tragically unbelievable poverty, starvation and disease. About 6 million souls, or half the Jewish population of the earth. February 23rd, 1920. 6 million Jews. Friday, May the 7th, 1920. The Fund for Jewish War Sufferers in Central and Eastern Europe, where 6 millions face horrifying conditions of famine, disease and death. New York Times, Wednesday, July the 20th, 1921. 12 years before Adolf Hitler ever set foot in the government. Look at that. Russia's 6 million Jews are facing extermination by massacre. The Gazette, Montreal, December the 29th, 1931. And the article pretty much speaks up for itself. 6 million Jews face starvation. New York Times, February 23rd, 1938. A year and a half before the Second World War even started. A depressing picture of 6 million Jews in Central Europe deprived of protection.
But remember, they want to keep people stupid. They don't want people reading, they don't want people gaining knowledge on the evils that they're doing, because it would foil their plan. So go out, do some reading, do some research. Don't be a stupid sheep, as they would hope you are. Trust in God. Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life. He leads the life, exposing the darkness.